Bevy Smith, welcome to Jasonunleashed. How you doing?
I'm so happy to be here with you, Jason. Thank you for inviting me.
Of
And I'm so
course.
glad we're able to get it done.
Yes, get it done. I have a question though. Okay, so what do I call you? Do I call you bestie? Do I call you mother? Do I call you auntie? Like where do I
Okay.
fall in?
Are you a part of the LGBTQIA community?
Yep.
Okay, so the mother part actually comes from what I'm called by my gay sons. They call
Okay.
me mama.
All right. So I'm gonna call you mother Bevy.
Yes.
Um, this memoir, I've read a lot of memoirs, and excuse my windblower outside. They're crazy here in Miami, but I've read a lot of memoirs, and Bevy, I have to say, this one really hit differently. And you have lived your life with moments of, I would say, aha, and definitive moments of clarity. What was that definitive moment for you when you decided, hey, I need to write this and share this with the world?
I think that it really was a culmination of just feeling dissatisfied, and feeling like I had nowhere to turn and I needed to take charge of my life and change my life.
Right.
And then once I did that, and I got on social media and I started living my life out loud on social media, the early days of social media, where you actually went on Twitter, and if you made a friend on Twitter, you met up IRL in real life. Those
Right.
days are long gone, right? But it was from those early days of Twitter that I began really telling my story for the first time, because by then I started seeing some success in my new life. And people were like, oh my gosh, I would love to change my life. How did you do it? And they were saying, can I pick your brain? Can we meet for coffee? And in my book, I say, there's no way in the world that I'm going to sit around and drink watery coffee with you and eat a hard scone for an hour so you can pick my brain. And I decided to create this really great seminar, Life with Vision. And from Life with Vision, I created Bevelations, Lessons from a Mother, Auntie, Bestie.
And there you have it. There is the memoir there. The book is a revelation in that normally with memoirs, people, of course, they run the gamut of their life and their experiences. But for you, manifestation is huge. And you had a vision for your life throughout your life. But at 29, you're working for the biggest publication in my life, Vibe magazine. And you've worked for a lot of publication Bibles throughout your career, but you decide and have a moment in Italy and say, I'm not happy. And a lot of people would not have the strength to decide to pivot, because you are the queen of the pivot, and say, I want to live a life with authenticity. What were the struggles in living that life with authenticity? Upon embarking on that journey, what surprised you the most?
Actually, it's so weird. It's all about mindset, right? So for me, um, the journey of going from being an advertising executive to becoming a media personality, it was not, there weren't a lot of downtimes. Now, financially, there
Yeah,
were horrible downtimes.
right.
That's the part of the book, the broke but blissful
We're going
chapter.
to talk about that chapter. Yeah,
But I have to tell you, spiritually and mentally, the journey was very smooth
yeah,
because I knew that I was going to be able to achieve what I set out to do. And
right.
I think that's important to note that, like, a lot of the reason why you see people that succeed in life are people that really believe in themselves and believe in what they're doing, and they believe that it's their purpose, and they believe that they were put here to do these things. And while it took me a little while to figure out what it was that I was meant to do, I knew the feeling that I was chasing. I was chasing the freedom of creativity and freedom.
Yeah,
And so for me, the entire portion of the journey, which we're calling the pivot, that part of the journey was so enlightening, because the pivot allowed me to unleash and unearth all these great things about me that I had hidden so long ago. And I had to excavate and I had to
right.
dig really
Ooh,
deep, and just like all of it then came up to the surface, and voila, that's who you're seeing now. So
right.
I kind of I really do feel like I manifested this life that I'm living right now, and I'm on to the next level. This book is really much more than even a memoir. It's really a self-help book.
I
And so
was
in the book itself, I'm doing manifestation work even as I'm writing the book.
Clearly, that I was going to touch on that as well. I absolutely wholeheartedly agree with that. That's what I took away from the book, because your life has been the sum of everything that you were impeccable about your word with, right? You're a huge believer in the 4 agreements.
Yes.
And it's just so fascinating to see it unfold. Broke but Blissful was by far one of the most compelling chapters in the book, in that it hit different for me, because I understand what it's like to leave a life that was working, hey, financially, cool, right? You've essentially achieved the dream in your field, but you're not fulfilled. And what that entails, and what that requires you to be. I mean, look, you were making salmon croquettes from a can of salmon, trying to manifest your new dream, which, by the way, I tried to make your recipe, Bevy, and I failed miserably, but that's a whole other story.
Well, we're going to get that together, because it's the easiest recipe, Jason. I don't believe you couldn't do it.
Trust, it was a fail. But Broke but Blissful, to me, I actually cried reading that. I also cried reading the chapter about your father, but Broke but Blissful, because I felt where you were coming from, having to say, okay, I want more for my life, and taking 5 steps back to move 9 million steps forward and achieve that. I mean, when you were writing that, what was going through your mind? What was the emotion?
Oh, from Broke but Blissful?
Yes.
Oh, well, child, it was like, okay, well, this is in the past.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, with the entire time I was going through it, Jason, I was like, oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be good for the book. This is going to be a great chapter in the book. So I always knew, and you know, there were so many songs that got me through my different parts of my journey.
Like,
and you know, and Mary says in one song, I can't remember the name of it, but she says, "Trouble don't last always."
right.
And she says, "This too shall pass." And so I always knew, and I had that feeling, that spirit, and that's the way I went forth into my journey. And so again, you know, when I'm writing that part of the book, I'm just like, wow, look at you, girl. You done made it through that. And, you know, and it's such a blessing. I'm writing that part of the book when I have a nationally syndicated TV show, Page 6 TV, where I have Bevelations, my radio show on Sirius XM, and I'm being paid 5 figures to do speaking engagements. So, wow, a long way away from Broke but Blissful, baby. So when I'm writing it, I'm in a very, very comfy space, and a very much like, you know, how I got over, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just for me, because it wasn't even painful, because I knew it was not my life.
It wasn't forever, right?
A blip in the matrix.
Sure.
I really did know that.
Yeah.
And you know, it's also something very interesting that I would love to convey to the folks who are watching us. When my job, Page 6 TV, got canceled, I also was never ever worried that I was going to go back to a broke but blissful lifestyle. And I'll just be candid here. You know, when you do a nationally syndicated TV show, it does pay well. It's
Right.
hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're paid. And so, you know, that's a lot of money to have to replace, right? But when that job went away, it never for a moment entered my mind like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do for money? Because you know what I realized, Jason? I reestablished myself. You know, this time it wasn't about being Bevy Smith, the fashion executive, or Bevy Smith, the fashionista. You know, it was about Bevy Smith, the media personality. And I had done the work so much that when Page 6 TV goes off the air, I already know, oh, child, you're going to work. Right. It's okay. So that's just one door that closed.
Right.
And also, I had never had any intention of coming back to that job for the 3rd season, because it was not my cup of tea.
And you know what? Interestingly enough, you say that because you are so big on following your gut. And that was one instance where your gut was telling you this isn't the move, but yet we still, as talent in this business, and for those watching, talent are people who are in front and behind the camera. We want opportunity because we work hard to hone our craft. You worked hard to hone your craft, to be better on camera, to be incredible on camera, to build these relationships. And so sometimes when a job seems fire, bomb, at jump, when you get behind the velvet rope and realize that it's not, it's too late, you think, damn, I should have trusted my gut. But therein lies another lesson to what? Trust your gut. And also, red soul proposition, right? Know what you stand for, know what you bring to the table, know what sets you apart, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it's all about, for me, it's interesting though. I don't regret taking Page Six TV. I don't know why I took that job, but everything will be revealed in time. So it's
Yes.
only the show was canceled. I think we did our last show September 2019.
Mhm.
So it's only been really a year and a few months since then. So
Right.
I don't think enough time has passed. And also because we lost the entire year, what with 2020 being the
Sure.
year of COVID. So I don't think it's been revealed to me as of yet why I took Page Six TV. We know it wasn't for the money, but there's something else at play why I took that, because everything, that's one of my big revelations, everything is as it should be. So
Right.
I know that one day I'm going to be doing something, or I'm going to have some kind of opportunity. And the reason why it's going to all come together for me is because I worked on Page Six TV. It hasn't
Ah,
been real just yet, but it
right.
will be. So there are
I
no mistakes. There are no
right.
mistakes.
And
There
you
are
said
there are things that make us uncomfortable. There are times when we do things that we are less than happy about. But there's always something. There's always a lesson to be learned from doing these gigs, and there's always something else at play that's not the obvious. So
truer
I can't wait
words.
to see why I took that damn job. But in the meantime, in between time, I took that damn job and I hated it.
Look, Bev, we could have a whole coffee conversation about a job I took that ended up being whack for a very popular outlet. And so I get you, girl. I see you. I see
Yeah.
you. When Bevy met Andy, you have an incredible show on Andy's network on Sirius XM radio. And I mean, it's so illuminating and enlightening to listen to you connect with the guests and see such a side of you that is so organic, that is so real, that is so authentic. Andy Cohen and you, that relationship is a match made in heaven. Yeah.
We get along famously well. And I think that the real secret to it is that, when I met Andy, it was because he cast me for the Tim Gunn Guide to Style. And I turned down that contract because it was,
Whack.
by the way, it was not Andy's contract. Andy was simply an executive at Bravo.
Sure.
He was not business affairs, because I always want to make that clear, because I know there's always a lot of talk in the air about Andy not having good contract. I will tell you this: Andy Cohen at that time was a TV executive,
Mm-hmm.
which means all he did was find the talent, develop shows, and all that kind of stuff. He was not the man in charge of the money. So okay, now we got that out the way.
The business.
Contract, it was less than what I wanted it to be.
Right.
And so I decided I wasn't going to take that job because I believed in myself. Now, the interesting thing about that is that I had just quit my job at Rolling Stone magazine. So this was going to be my first big opportunity to host a show, be a co-host of a show on a very popular cable network like Bravo. So again, that's something that you would say, oh my gosh, well, only a fool wouldn't take that gig. But, I looked at the deal and I really felt like, it's for such little money. My face will be on the side of the bus,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll be riding the bus. And I was like, nothing against riding the bus, because if you read the book, I do go on to ride the bus. But I was like, what I'm not going to be doing is being on on a big cable network, and
Right.
that wasn't going to happen.
Right. Well, and the bus actually dropped you off in front. The M100 dropped you off in front of your house, so it was a convenience. But
It was a very convenient thing. But I would to just get back to me and Andy's relationship. From the time we met all those many years ago, which is at this point over 10 years ago, we've always had a very respectful relationship. Meaning this: I don't go to Andy Cohen for stuff. I do not ask Andy Cohen for anything. Andy Cohen respects my talent. So Andy Cohen will have opportunities and he will have projects, and he'll think, Becky would be good for that. And he will give me a phone call and he'll say, have you ever thought of, or what do you think about? And then I let him know what I think of it and if I'm interested. And then we move from there. But I'm not one of those people, and this is something that I want everyone to take in. When you know powerful people, when you know very successful people, and even if you have really great relationships with them, one way to really maintain those great relationships is to not constantly go to them with your hand out,
yeah.
and to not constantly go back to the same well. I felt like Andy Cohen gave me a great opportunity with Bravo's Fashion Queens, and so that was great. Thank you very much, and I'm gonna keep it moving. Then, of course, he came back to me and said, would you want to do a radio show? And I said, well, only if I don't have to talk about fashion. He said, of course, let it be like your Twitter feed. So he gave me a radio show. Thank you very much. And then he said, have you ever thought about writing a book? And I said, well, as a matter of fact, me and my agent just did a one sheet about my book. And he said, oh, well, come in and talk to me and my publishing team about it. And that's how we did the book. But again, if you notice all these stories, Andy Cohen is picking up the phone to call me.
Right. And it's all about relationships as well, though, because I think when you build the right you build the right bridges in relationships based on the right foundation. That's based on, as you said, your talent, what you bring to the table organically. The universe conspires to open those doors, right?
Yes. The universe conspires to open those doors, but also it means that Andy is happy to take my calls. Yeah. Andy does not feel like, oh gosh, I see Bevy's name in my phone. Lord, what's it going to be now? You know what I mean? And you want people, especially people that are very successful, they always have a lot of people clawing at them for something. You want to be that person that's like, I don't call you for nothing. So, you know what I mean? So they want to help you, and they believe in you, and they believe in your gifts and your talents. So, you know, me and Andy have a beautiful relationship. I respect him. He respects me. And he's never once butted into any of the opportunities that he's given me. You know, I do what I want on my radio show. This book was written with no interference from him at all. He saw the book when it was literally printed. He probably got the 50th copy of this damn book.
Yeah. Shout out to your publicist and bestie, Amy Moore. She's incredible. Yeah. You are Harlem's finest. How are you feeling? I know you battled COVID last year. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
Oh, I feel great. You know, yes, I was one of the early adapters of the COVID trend. And, you know, it's so funny because I'm coming up on my anniversary of when I realized I was sick.
Sure.
It was March 13th when I really started not feeling great. So right now we're taping this about 9 days away from that. So that should be a heady moment in my life. And we would have never thought that we would still be in lockdown a year later, but here we are, right?
Right. It's the new normal. The future, Bevy, you're always working and manifesting for the future. If you could sit down, well, the future, yes, but in retrospect, if you could sit down, little brown Bevy, go to brunch with her, get her an orange juice, what would you say to her? What would the conversation be to little brown Bevy?
I would say to her, you know, so much of the book is devoted to little brown Bevy. So the Dare to Dream chapter, you know, do not limit your dreams. I find that so many of us dream in a very small space.
We do.
We dream like we can't breathe. We don't even dare to say to ourselves our most outrageous dreams. And I would tell her, little brown Bevy, dream audaciously, dream boldly. And I would also tell her another chapter out of the book. It gets greater later.
Right.
You know, I am so glad I didn't peak in high school. I'm so glad.
Same.
I'm so glad I didn't peak when I was a hip hop hottie in the heyday of the 90s hip hop scene.
Which was glorious.
Which was glorious. I'm so glad I didn't peak when I was a high flying fashionista going to Milan and Paris and sitting front row. I'm so glad I continue to reach new heights. I continue to try to grab the brass ring. I do not rest on my laurels. I would tell little brown Bevy to keep going and to always be adventurous and be curious and to go forth into the world knowing that there's something great awaiting you, and never ever give up on your dreams, and certainly never give up on yourself. It gets greater later. Dare to dream. Everything is as it should be, little brown Bevy. That's what I would tell her.
Oh, so good. And don't let anyone dictate your aha moment as well. Bevy, the future. Well, are you gonna be EGOT status? Are we gonna get Grown Ass Woman, the musical on Broadway? What does the future hold for you?
Yeah. So we're doing all of that. So of course, my EGOT plan. The Emmy is easy because I do TV, so I can get a daytime Emmy of some sort, or I can get an Emmy for a talk show or something. So that to me is very attainable. The Grammy. I can get a Grammy for being in a production of a Broadway musical of some sort. I could also get a Grammy for spoken word. I could also get a Grammy for reading the audiobook of Bevelations, Lessons from a Mother.
Sell the book, baby.
Okay. My Oscar, that's when we start getting into headier territory. The Oscar I'm going to get for doing an amazing Best Supporting Actress role in a film. I'm on camera for as little as 8 minutes. That's all you need to do.
Right.
You can hit that damn mark for 8 minutes. You can be submitted. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do that. So that's how I'm going to get my Oscar. And then the Tony. That's the tough one. I could do it by just producing a Broadway show. But instead, I'll get it for my one woman show, Grown Woman, which is going to be me telling my story through song and dance and all the rest of it. And then also, I'm going to play, I'll do Chicago, I'll do Gypsy, and I'll play, Mama Gypsy, Mama Rose, So there's a lot of different ways in which I can get the Tony as well. But that's my strategy. And I'm very happy to say that audition that I talk about in the book, where I was afraid to go because I didn't know if I was afraid to go because of the pandemic, because I went on like March 10th or something like that. New York City closes down on March 13th. So I was like, I don't even know why I'm going to an audition and this damn virus is raging and I don't think I should go. But then I thought to myself, am I afraid to go because of the virus, or am I afraid to go because I'm afraid to attempt to act again? Right. Because when I first quit my job at Rolling Stone, I attempted to act. And everyone told me I was created to be a host. They were like, oh my God, you're so good at hosting and interviewing. So I pivoted to that. But now I've come back to acting. And that audition that I went on, that I was afraid to go on, and I went and I did it, and I was not feeling 100%, but you always do your best. You show up and you always do your best. Well, guess what? 2 months ago, they called me back. I just shot 2 weeks ago. I was only supposed to be in one scene. They gave me 2 scenes, and now I'm going back for another scene.
Wow. Damn.
So I'm actress Bevy, because once you get paid for something, in the book I say, once you get paid for something, you're a professional.
Yes.
So I am now a working actress.
See what I'm saying? Do you understand why everyone needs to go and get this book? Our good friend Ebony K. Williams was like, Jay, read this book. And I was like, fine. And then I read it, and it's just what you just illustrated. Manifest, believe it could happen. Do your best. Just show up. And you can make it happen. The book is Bevelations, Lessons from a Mother, Auntie, Bestie, Bevy Smith. Wow. Thank you for being on the season 5 premiere of Jason Unleashed. All the best, and I cannot wait to see you on the big screen.
Thank you, my love. Thank you so much, and it's been a blast chatting with you.